Well, I was worried this was gonna happen. And it kind of already had half happened earlier in the year. Only 3 tournaments ago, the Mid-America Open. But Ohn, I need to sincerely and formally apologize for having one of the worst takes of the year before the season even began.
So my question is, what touring player, MPO or FPO, will begin their decline this season?
I hate to say it because I love her so much. She's one of the most fun FPO players to watch. I think Ohn Scoggins could potentially be seeing the start of the decline of her FPO run.
I think Ohn right now definitely thrives on the fundamental part of the game, you know, putting, keeping the disc in the fairway. But, all right, Brody, go for it.
Take my points. I have a chance here. He just picked the captain of an all-star.
Hate to say it, but I think Brody was right. And if they were able to take away wins from debate night, they should maybe take mine away. But you better not do that because there's so many bad takes on that show. Mine just might be the worst. But Ohn Scoggins, if you didn't know, I can't spoil anything because Jomez is already up. That definitely shows you why I don't comment too much on the game. I'm kind of a dumb guy when it comes to that. I'd rather just play. But Ohn has proved herself to be a force this season, some calling her the Maddie O of FPO. And then she comes out to Deglo, the first playoff event of the year, 1.5 times points. No Kristen, no Paige, but she wins it in pretty dominant fashion, to be honest. So I have a lot of parts of her game and things to talk about while we play 9 holes in Ohn Scoggins style. Only Halo Destroyers and putters at a pretty short course. So I wouldn't throw a destroyer in any of these holes. Let's do it Ohn Scoggins style though. If I can't shoot 5 down through these 9 holes with this Halo Destroyer, I'll put some nice Ohn Scoggins artwork on it. But the other destroyer I'll tell you about and why I'm a little bit nervous to be playing this course with that one. I think everyone just needs to only throw flex forehand destroyers. I think those are a collective 5 feet away from the basket. We'll ace it with the putting putters real fast. Did I actually? Did I actually? So Ohn is definitely not known for her distance, but what she makes up for in distance, she has an accuracy. And I think that can teach us a lot, even up to like more of a local MPO level. I think that starts to break down a little bit as you get to the MPO side of the tour. Everybody has the accuracy and the distance, but right now, it seems like the players in FPO, like the Ellas and Hollands, who have the big distance and the big arms, don't always back it up with the accuracy, and sometimes they'll play for shots that they can throw that maybe aren't the high percentage plays, whereas Ohn knows her limitations and throws the crap out of a flex forehand destroyer up to like 300 feet, and it is a beauty to watch, even at a big bomber course like Deglo that they just played. I think the course is technically Toboggan, not Deglo. Because of that, she also has to be a master of angles, because when you're throwing these faster discs, you need to land them on the ground softly, or else they're gonna skip to 45 feet. And if they do skip to 45 feet, you have to be able to make the putt. And both of those things are things that Ohn absolutely specializes in. So the reason I talk about this destroyer as the one to put the artwork, I'll make some really pretty Ohn Scoggins artwork to put on here, and I'll consider it for my bag. I don't wanna just like put it in the bag to put it in the bag, but this one is my KC Wide Open 2023 kind of commemorative one. I had basically everyone I played with and all the pros that I had met and chilled with sign this disc. And so I'm hoping to not put this into the raging river that is flowing behind probably 7 or 8 of these holes. Because I think I'd honestly kind of cry if I lost this. But real quick, let's talk a little bit of the mechanics of Ohn's throws, because she does have a great backhand. She's shown that. I feel like she only throws like 5 discs. She has a rock 3, destroyers, like an AVR 3, a pig, and her putting putters, which I think are just KC AVRs or something. But for her flex forehands, she really has a great upper body coil that allows, even with her small frame, herself to snap through all the way with the disc. One thing that you'll see is as she's throwing those flex forehands, her back shoulder, her throwing shoulder stays high. Because if you drop that shoulder, you're not gonna be really able to throw the Anheuser forehand. I know Eagle still does it sometimes, but that's because he needs to keep his arm pinned over to his side. But when you're watching Ohn, she keeps that back shoulder up, kind of like a baseball throw, and just really follows through with the disc. So if you're struggling with throwing those flex forehands, that can help. This is a hole I'm very nervous about since we're only throwing flex forehands. But we need to talk about the main thing that Ohn's game has to translate into mine, which is her mental side of everything. Please sit. Die. Well, hopefully we get that back. Much better. Why didn't I do that the first time? Okay, we have to see if we can get that disc back. I don't want to be losing Halo Destroyers out here. But Ohn's mental game is the best in the game, probably. I mean, even on lead cards, she seemed unfazed. Of course, she knew what she was doing. She had the lead through the 3 rounds, and it did seem to be absolutely very important to her. But she seems to have just an unfazable positivity about her. And there was one really specific time during that round at Deglo, the final round, where she made a mistake and it would have like derailed me mentally, but watching her process through it was just incredibly telling to her mental game and why she's able to, no matter what, like finish on the podium almost every time, but also now to take it down and probably to take down some more tournaments. Granted, no Kristen, no Paige, but she did average 1,000 for the event, which is a pretty high rating for an FPO win. That water is freezing and that disc is gone. 2-second salute. Now let's make the par putt and get 4 more birdies and not lose this other disc, because that one I didn't care about nearly as much as this one. That's like the first disc I've lost in a long time. I did see someone waiting down there, so hopefully like flows down to them and we can get it back, but one thing I can tell you is Ohn would not have lost that disc. Another thing that I need to apologize for. It's an Ohn Scoggins video. You don't think we're gonna miss a putt, right? Come on. Okay, we gotta really think about these angles and really just commit to them. So I almost just brought out this destroyer and the Calvin Halo destroyer that I aced with Joel Freeman and Joe Revere on the card. That would have been really bad, because I'd feel so bad if I lost this thing. I kind of don't want to finish this, but we're gonna. I'm not gonna put Ohn artwork on this, because there's no room to fit it anywhere. So I'll buy whatever commemorative disc comes out for D-Glow if I can't get to my 5 down with it. And if it's not a Halo destroyer, I'm gonna give it to somebody. But if it is, I'll probably just put it in my fieldwork bag as a replacement. 220 feet, make sure we flex it. Oh no. What in the freaking world, man? Oh my gosh. Okay, we're alive. If you couldn't tell, this is not a shot that I throw a lot. And a lot of these holes face right towards those targets. We're gonna go to that putt, and then we're not gonna throw another disc in the water. There's really only like 2 more holes where it comes into play. The next one is pretty scary. That scared the crap out of me. Whew. File this in the dumb video ideas list. Oh my goodness. All right, 1 subscribe equals 1 bit of my sanity back. I know Ohn would not be throwing these shots on these holes because she has like a phenomenal just like throw it straight at the basket game. I figured it'd be a fun challenge, and I was like half right. It's an Ohn Scoggins video. We're gonna miss the putts. All right, this is the last really scary hole. Straight ahead of us, like 300 feet. I have not been getting over on these flex shots. Really just gotta get over on one. Come on. Just sit down. Okay, it works. I know the shot works. I was so scared, and I still barely got it over. Oh, we can get back to talking about Ohn. I feel like most of my sanity, 20% of my sanity has been restored. Okay, one quick thing about Ohn's putting, and then back to that story that I was gonna be talking about on hole 15 of the tournament. But Ohn's putt is so interesting because it comes out of her hand. Let me see if I can recreate it, like this. No, we're back to even with 5 holes of play, so we need to get all of them. But when the putt comes out of her hand, I'm gonna try to no spin. No, but she spins it. It's just so much speed and so little. Maybe it's because she comes from her hip. I don't really understand it, honestly. One of the things that she said is that her putt is very little affected by the wind because of all that wobble, which to me would think it is affected more, but I think Ohn's a much better putter than I am, so I'll take her word for it. We're backed up to a highway here, so we'll throw this real fast and talk about hole 15, which was one of the coolest things I've ever seen a disc golfer do, mentally, that I could see on the screen. We're gonna try to flex it to that very small gap to the left. Hey, we hit it, let's go. I didn't think I was gonna hit that. I think the DGN has like this content creator affiliate thing that I'm not a part of, so I can't show you the footage. I think technically it could, based on fair use laws. I've heard that DGN might be a little like litigious or copyright claim. I don't really know. Go to Jomez because Ohn makes a shot where she can get up and down for an easy birdie. Ella Hansen is closing in on her, and Ohn has not been playing phenomenal. She's been playing good, but Ella's been playing great. So Ella's closing in. Ohn throws a shot, cuts through some trees, turns it over a little bit too much to the right with her destroyer, goes through some trees, cuts out left. For me, I'm like, oh no, I missed that shot. What a terrible shot. Now I have to make this 40-foot uphill putt. But you see in Ohn's face the little bit of surprise, and then she watches the disc, not a lot of emotion. It comes out of the tree, and you just see her go, like, already moving on to that next putt. Like, because why would she dwell on that shot? She's already taken that shot. Now she's thinking about, let's make this next putt. Goes up, bangs the putt, icy for a birdie there. And that's just one of the coolest moments of, don't worry about it, just make the next shot that I've ever seen from a player in the moment. That's also one of the things that Ohn does really well that I've had to learn to do straddling is extends fully every time she putts. And if you are missing putts low, a lot of times you're just not extending. But that like image of Ohn doing that and going down the stretch and winning this tournament is something that kind of like seared into my mind, and I really want to take to my next couple tournaments that I have. Okay, so I went to go and pull the timestamp from Jomez. It is not on Jomez. It was just on the live coverage. So really glad that I caught that. I'm just gonna show you. DJM, please don't sue me or like threaten legal action. So if you want to go watch it, it's here at 3:12:38. Ohn is throwing this destroyer. So you're gonna pull a little bit right into these woods over here. Baskets right there, hole 15.
The common misplay is for this to fade out to the left side of the pin and then...
Here, I'm just gonna let you listen to my own commentary instead of Terry. It does end up kicking out, and that I could see being one of the things that you might think, oh, it's just because it kicked out, that's why she has this face, but I don't really think it's that. I'm sure a part of it is, so they're just replaying the shot here. She ends up throwing it. It's going to kick to the left of this trees, and then you're going to get her reaction as she's actually watching it, which is the thing that I think is so impressive about her mental game. She's looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. Okay, on to the next shot. That's what I take from that. I think that's probably what's in her head because it would explain why she goes up and just bangs the putt in a second, but I don't know. Subscribe to DGN if you want to. I think Jomez... just today, maybe the last day of like a month free if you use one of their codes. I saw that and I was like, hey, if you want to do that, I think Worlds is coming up in 2 weeks. Might as well get DGN for free through Worlds. But yeah, I mean, they're not sponsoring anything, but I just don't want them to like give me a copyright claim on the video. Because it's one thing to hear, don't take your last shot into the next shot, like every new shot, you gotta reset. It's another thing to see a professional player in the heat of trying to win her first Elite Series event after 47 starts, and to see her go through that mental routine in real time was just a thing of beauty. So that was so cool. 267 feet, nice little flex destroyer. Okay, so I'm driving home to edit this video, and I totally realized I forgot to say, if you guys don't know Ohn Scoggins, she is the multi-time reigning female pro 40+ open world champion. So she's also plays FP40 or can. I did not mention that in this video at all. Probably because it's not like crazy important, just adds to how impressive she is. That is such an Ohn shot, dude. That's crazy. It works though, I mean, oh, it's long. Ohn is also so good at just like getting that full extension and hitting right through every single shot right at the basket and just like laser beam up shots. We always talk about her putting, but her up shots are like top tier as well. I feel like there's so much that I could say about Ohn's mental game. Honestly, I just want to like transpose her mental game, her mentality, and put it in my head. I think a lot of that just comes with experience. Like she's been in the game for a while at a really high level. But something that she does so well that I haven't seen almost anybody else be able to replicate is not letting anybody else or their game affect her. She just plays her game, knows the shot she needs to throw, doesn't let anybody else's big shots tempt her to throw those. She just is like, this is my game plan, I'm gonna execute it, and then she does and she wins. That was kind of an Ohn putt. And personally, I'm not like a relentlessly positive person, so that's not a part of her mental game that I necessarily want to adopt because it's not super authentic to who I am. This is gonna be a little tough. We got a wind blowing this way, 324 feet up to a high basket, so gotta give it height. This one's gonna definitely be like an Ohn looking shot if I can execute it well. It's too short. Skip. Oh, not super short though. Inside the circle, I think, maybe a little short. I think that clip that I played at the beginning, I prefaced it well. Ohn, I feel like she is like the Matteo of FPO in that it is almost impossible to not like her. Like, I genuinely can't see anybody not liking Ohn Scoggins, and so much of that is her positivity, but it's also her play. She is a top tier FPO competitor. She seems unassuming, or has seemed unassuming, but has had a season that without the wins seems to be relatively similar to Calvin. But the demeanor is just so much less of Calvin's like stoic and like a killer, and Ohn has those tendencies, except for the stoicism. She's just vibrant and has one of the most amiable and likable personalities of anyone in any part of disc golf. All right, this is a sneaky important putt. Creeping up towards that 5 down, baby. 2 holes to go. One less disc though, so that's pretty sad. Now on to Ohn Scoggins and her shot selection. And honestly, this is where you might yell at me a little bit more than even having one of the stupidest takes at the beginning of the season. Like that take was already super dumb, and then she just goes and wins 2 of the last 4 tournaments, and now it looks like hyperbolically stupid. But even doing this challenge, it's fun. Doesn't mean you should go out with a super overstable fast disc and just chop it over on forehands and backhands. Absolutely not. But one of the nuances that I think is missed sometimes is, I don't know how Ohn got started playing disc golf. Maybe she got started like this and got really accurate and good with it, and it helps her get distance and she's comfortable with the shot shape. And yeah, she could learn to throw less of these flex shots and less skippy ground action and dial it in, but obviously it's working for her. And so if you have something in your game that fundamentally, if someone was to get into disc golf and you were given like, here is the perfect path to get really good at disc golf, you wouldn't tell them to do, but it works for you, still do it. There are so many great ways to play this game. Maybe you can work on the other things, but maybe you can be like Ohn and just like work on being a phenomenal putter and do whatever you're good at. And there are good points in coaching and you should work at different things, but it doesn't mean it's a necessary part of your game, even if it is a fundamentally good thing to do. So I often, especially as someone who's trying to get really good, find myself getting caught up in the, oh, I need to do this because this is what the best people do, or I need to do that. And I think there's more nuance that's been added to disc golf recently, I found even in coaching, but I think it still needs to be said more that like, if something is working for you, you don't have to stop it because a coach says that it's not the optimal way of doing things. Maybe you can try their way of doing things. If you're nailing the shot every single time, continue to do it. Maybe work on another one as well, but don't stop the one that's working, because that's something that I found myself doing to try to do the right shot, and I'll end up scoring worse instead of just doing what I know I can do and do well, even if it's a technically even harder or worse shot. I just personally am more comfortable with it, and that's something that I think Ohn exemplifies more than almost anybody else in all of disc golf right now. Get under around it. Oh my gosh. This course wants me to shoot 5 down. That was like the luckiest little wind dropping kick. 4 down, 1 more hole. I do want to buy that disc, but I also like don't want to spend any money. So this is more of just like, do I have to spend 20 bucks or not? Also, I don't know who needs to hear this. And like, you guys know, I don't point you towards any stores to buy stuff or whatever. I'm not affiliated or sponsored with any of them. But if you guys are trying to buy like Tour Series, commemorative, Halo stuff, try to buy it on Innova's own website first, because everything's only like $21 or $18 and everywhere else it's like 30. Which makes sense because of dealer markup versus direct to consumer. But like if you're looking at getting like these commemorative stuff, obviously if you want to support your local shop, do that. But if you're looking at just like any random online retailer, go to Innova's site first, and they're typically way cheaper. I'm a big fan of saving money, so hopefully that'll save you some. And hopefully we'll get this last birdie. My camera is literally about to die. So one last flex forehand around that middle tree. If it dies and I get the birdie, just know I cheated. Get over, and sit down. That's a long putt for the 2. See, like even that response, great for a YouTube video, terrible for a tournament. I need to learn how to separate that so that in a tournament I can say, okay, I threw that shot, let's make a circle 2 putt, instead of, oh, it's gonna be a hard 2. Don't think about that. Think about draining this putt and making Ohn proud. Easy putt. Dear Ohn, please forgive me. That was so stupid. I'm a little idiot, but I'm so stoked that you were finally able to take one down. Hopefully many more to come. And I know we often say this about Kristen and Paul and Paige, that they're so good for the game, but I think Ohn, if you're watching this, you're probably not, but you're one of the best people for disc golf, mentality-wise, both on the killer end of I want to be a phenomenal competitor and the positivity end. Thanks for being a part of the sport so much. And to everyone watching, thank you for watching. Hopefully my camera isn't dead and I'm talking to nobody. If you want to watch a recent video, check it out right down there. Hope you like it. Thank goodness for 5 down. Peace. See you tomorrow.